on crossroadstoday.com. Last week, Hurricane Milton slammed into Florida. We'll take a look at the damages the state faces. And a local family hosted a benefit for a loved one as they questioned the details surrounding his death. Plus, Victoria County Commissioners meet today. We'll tell you a few items on their agenda.
And it is officially time to get excited because fall is still on its way as we go into mid this week and later this week. I'll tell you about those temperatures, and we'll also talk about everything that's going on in the tropics and the weather coming up.
NFL Sunday recap for the Cowboys and for the Texans. See which team did great and see which team didn't do not so great. Coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and happy, 2 days until the real fall feels get here.
2 days until real fall begins. We're still expect that front, Carolina. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I think maybe
wearing some fall colors here.
We are wearing fall colors, and I still need to plan my Halloween costumes.
Oh, do you?
I need 3 costumes this season.
I actually got my Halloween costume in mind, but obviously it's not Halloween time yet, and it's definitely going to be hot up there.
It's October, Parker.
It's October, yeah. We actually got some record highs coming away today and tomorrow, so stay tuned. We're going to talk about what those temperatures are going to be like today and tomorrow, coming up later on Sunrise, because right now, if you're tuning in with us this morning, obviously it's not hot yet. It's actually quite nice out there, a little bit humid out there. You look alive in Victoria. It's 66 degrees right now. Dew point about 1 degree off in that temperature, bringing a definitely humid morning at 96%. But usually with that level of humidity, we would see a little bit of fog out there, but it's not going to be really thick out there. So if you do see it, it's going to be really thin streaks floating through the air. Don't need to worry about any kind of thick fog this morning. But look at your dew points, and the reason I'm putting the dew points map up here is because you're going to see that cooler, drier, much drier air mass enter the picture as we go all the way into tomorrow. Going into later today, though, you may notice the dew points are going to drop a little bit. That's why our heat's going to be a little bit high today. And here comes that dry air coming out of the northeast on Wednesday early morning. This is 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and 7 a.m. Dew points dropping from the 50s and 60s to the 30s. And you're definitely going to notice that when it comes through, because temperatures are also dropping to the low 80s and some even in the upper 70s. But before the front arrives, like I said, it's going to be a bit hot out there. So if you're sending your kids out the door today, make sure to prepare them for the upper 90s. We're going to look at that and more coming up later on Sunrise. Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. President Joe Biden tours Florida's battered coastline. Biden surveyed the damage from the sky Sunday on Marine One and toured St. Petersburg Beach, which was left in shambles by Hurricane Milton. He promised more than $600 million to restore and upgrade the grid after Hurricanes Helene and Milton hammered the region. Biden says in moments like this, Americans come together to help each other. More than 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene hit Asheville, North Carolina, up to 100,000 people there still do not have running water. That's more than half of the people who get their water from the Asheville Water Department in the city and surrounding counties. Also, more than 23,000 people are still without power in western North Carolina. We now turn to college football and the death of a beloved player who was just 23. He refused to allow cancer to stop him from achieving his goals.
This morning, the North Carolina Tar Heels football team is mourning the loss of one of their own.
Tylee means so much to this team. He's pretty much the heart and soul of this team for sure. He's such a good person overall, and everybody loves Tylee.
23-year-old Tylee Craft died over the weekend after a brave battle with cancer. He was honored at the Tar Heels game Saturday with his family in attendance. Coach Mack Brown sharing a hug with Craft's mom.
23 is not enough. If I could swap places with him today, I would, 100%.
Craft, a wide receiver, was diagnosed with a rare form of lung cancer in March 2022. Despite numerous treatments, the cancer spread. But Craft never gave up on his studies. He graduated with a bachelor's degree this past May. And at the time of his death, he had already enrolled in graduate courses.
This young man fought so hard for his 2.5 years. The doctors told us he outlived what he should have. And he did it with a spirit, and he did it with a smile on his face.
Through it all, Craft kept a positive outlook, receiving the Disney Spirit Award for becoming the most inspirational figure in college football.
It felt good to be recognized and be surrounded by my teammates. I'm mostly here for them, and they're here for me, so that bond that we share on and off the field, it just gets me through my days.
UNC saying he was one of one, and while he won't be with us in body, he'll be watching over us with his endearing smile and endless positivity. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
The family of a man who was found dead inside of a residence still has questions about the cause of his death. Police found Jerry Ramos inside an apartment on North Azalea Street by himself and unresponsive. Officers had to break down the door to fulfill a wellness check called in by a neighbor who knew Ramos. At the hospital, doctors were told that Ramos was homeless and had no family to notify of his death. The family says that not only were they present in his life, but he also had a home with them as well.
Homeless. He did have a home, you know, and he had a family that loved him. And, you know, people make choices, and we were still there as a family for him as we could be. He was a really good person, and we all loved him, you know, and we're hoping we find justice and find out exactly what happened to him.
The family is waiting for an autopsy report to find a cause of death and to see if foul play was involved. The Victoria County Commissioners meet today at 10 a.m. Here are some items from their agenda. They'll receive a copy of the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service interlocal agreement for the 2025 feral hog abatement program. They'll also consider holding a public hearing and execution of the Portside Energy Center LLC tax abatement agreement. And they'll also consider a request from the Office of Emergency Management to designate a 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe as an emergency vehicle and to consider the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet 1500. The court meets on the second floor of the courthouse at 115 North Bridge Street and room 241. Remember, follow us on our YouTube channel Crossroads Today, hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time is now 6:37 on our Monday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. A celebration of service to our country. We take a look at Warriors Weekend.
Trump and Vice President Harris each have events in Pennsylvania today, both coming off of campaigning in other battleground states. I'm Christiane Cordero with the latest from Washington.
And also coming up next after the break in the full forecast, it's going to be another hot day today and tomorrow before the front arrives. I'll tell you how hot I think it's going to be here in the Crossroads. But coming up later on Sunrise, we're going to continue looking at what's trying to form out there in the tropics. Well, good morning, Crossroads. You're looking live in Cuero this morning. Real nice out there. And like I said, all morning, I definitely suggest getting out there and enjoying this kind of cooler weather before we heat right back up to the upper 90s today. 65 right now up in Cuero, and 2.2 degrees off, mercury humidity at 93%. So plenty humid out there. But with that level of humidity, we're not really expecting any fog out there. But like I've been saying, if you do see it, it's going to be really, really thin streaks kind of floating through the air. But I'm just going to press play on your future clouds and radar, and you're going to see just like the last several days, nothing, not a single cloud in the sky, no rain out there, not a single drop of rain, not even a single speck of condensation out there today. So make sure to expect lots and lots of sunshine today. And with that beaming sun, it's going to be another hot one. In fact, look at your temperatures going all the way into the afternoon. We've got lots of upper 90s in the forecast. Some might even be hitting around 99, maybe even right close to 100 today. So please make sure to be careful out there in the heat. But look a little closer at home though. I'm thinking about 98 degrees in Victoria today. Lots and lots of sunshine. Going to be about 88, almost about 90 at noontime. But in Cuero though, a little bit warmer, actually about the same thing, 98, but maybe hitting 99 for a moment or so going into the afternoon. But like I said, make sure to be careful on their heat. And in Port Lavaca along the coast, you're going to see mid-90s at 95, I'm thinking, for today. Lots and lots of sunshine as well. But also in the background, we do still have lots of pollen that we've been dealing with since last week, so make sure to be careful. And I'd actually recommend taking an allergy pill today. Tree and grass are going to be moderate today, and ragweed is high. I would definitely recommend that allergy pill for today. But it's also another great day to get down to the beach and soak up some of the sun or go fishing. Waves are going to be pretty smooth, and your water's still very warm in the 80s. But we got lots more sunshine to come even after that cold front arrives, dropping us to the low 80s. But coming up next, we're going to look at what's going on in the tropics.
Your NFL Sunday saw the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans in action. But let's start off with the Houston Texans, continuing to be one of the big standouts in the AFC South, taking on the New England Patriots. The Texans on a 2nd and goal, in which Stroud motions right for a pass to Tank Dell, a 2-yard touchdown pass from Stroud to score first in the game. Patriots were still unable to return the favor, so the Texans get dangerous in Patriots territory again. But this time, it's 1st and goal, and Stroud does a quick pass to Joe Mixon for him to run it for another Texan touchdown. Mixon led the game in rushing with 102 yards, and Stroud throwing for 192 yards. The Texans seem to have a great offense in the NFL, beating the Patriots' final score 41-21. And ending things with the Dallas Cowboys as they were in action hosting the Detroit Lions. After being down a field goal, David Montgomery bounces off the tackles as if there was a spring in his back, and he almost bounces into the touchdown, but it was enough for a touchdown. And this was just a bad day in the office for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott at 3rd and 5, throwing a pass intended for CeeDee Lamb, but it was then intercepted by Brian Branch. The Cowboys never got it going from there. They lose badly. Final score, 47-9. And that does it for your morning sports. Until next time, I'm Ray Robinson.
Thank you, Ray. All right, we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. Former President Trump and Vice President Harris have both spent the weekend on the campaign trail. Harris launched a new attack strategy against Trump, going after Trump's mental fitness by releasing her medical records.
With just over 3 weeks to go, today both presidential campaigns are making their way to Pennsylvania, each holding events in the crucial battleground state. Harris spent her weekend in North Carolina, slamming Trump's mental acuity. The vice president released her medical records and called the former president out for not doing the same. She also went after Trump for turning down another debate.
It makes you wonder, why does his staff want him to hide away? One must question, are they afraid that people will see that he is too weak and unstable?
Before the rally, Harris went to church, urging people to keep the faith, attempting to separate her rhetoric from Trump's.
Instead of offering hope, there are those who are channeling people's tragedies and sorrows into grievance and hatred. Sadly, frankly, the motives are quite transparent, to gain some advantage for themselves.
While on a swing through 3 West Coast states, Trump continued to push the issue of immigration.
If Kamala gets 4 more years, the entire country will be turned into a migrant camp.
The former president promised to hire more border agents, even though he helped kill a bipartisan border security deal that would have funded the hiring of more Customs and Border Patrol agents. He also mocked reporters for implying he's too old or impaired, and on Fox proposed a new threat to use the military against his political opponents.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
The latest ABC News Ipsos poll shows this race remains neck and neck, with the economy as the biggest source of dissatisfaction. Despite low unemployment and cooling inflation, 59% say the economy is getting worse. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
On Friday, soldiers from across the country were welcomed in the Crossroads. Around 300 defenders of freedom arrived at the Field of Honor for a special welcome ceremony hosted by local leaders from across the area. Like every year, the soldiers were moved by the love and support shown by the community.
Wonderful people out here, and I've never been in anything like this, and I'm just overwhelmed by all the support and love that we're being shown here today.
The ceremony finished with the Warriors finding their own flag in the Field of Honor. Then they loaded buses to head to Port O'Connor. And on Saturday in Port O'Connor, the soldiers spent most of the day trying to hook that prize catch. The fishing rodeo is one of the highlights of Warriors Weekend. Many defenders of freedom, like Army veteran Joel McCartney, appreciate all the love shown to all the troops here in South Texas.
Everybody here was real accommodating, real nice. Honestly, the love on the trip down, all the patriotism that was displayed was real awesome. Got to see the Field of Honor, and it was kind of moving, really. Just kind of showed me my country hasn't forgotten me after all.
After the fishing rodeo, the Warriors were treated to a night of dinner and entertainment inside the Bauer Center at Port Lavaca. The time is now 6:46 on our Monday morning. Still to come, we learn how getting more sleep may benefit you. All right, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Allie. Happy birthday, Allie. Hope you have an awesome day. We love you so much from Mom and Jada, turning 13.
Ooh, yeah, big
Magical
13.
age.
Happy birthday, Allie. And also 27th birthday to Brian. I want to wish my best friend, Brian, a happy birthday today. And I couldn't ask the world for a more kinder friend than you. That is so sweet.
Kindness is so important.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And happy birthday to Daniel. A happy big 69th birthday to Daniel from his wife, daughters, and son, and all his family. We love you. Is he with like a Patrick Mahomes?
I think so. I think it's the Houston Texans mascot, actually. Well, happy birthday, Daniel. And also, yeah. I'm not going to say it like it is in the song, but it's Usher's birthday. The singer-songwriter is turning 46 today. Happy birthday, Usher. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, come to crossroadstoday.com, click the drop-down menu, then click the Home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
All right, the time is now 6:47 on our Monday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today.
That's right, happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all are still wondering what's going on out there in the tropics. Well, good news for us, and it is still good news. And the good news is that whatever does try and form here in this little yellow shaded area, and yes, we are still watching this little yellow shaded area for possible tropical development. We've been talking about this for the past like 2 weeks at this point now, maybe a week and a half or so, but I'm still expecting something to develop here in this yellow area, probably between this coming Thursday all the way through this coming weekend, Saturday or Sunday. And what's happening out there is I'm in the middle of the way so you can see what there is. There's a tropical wave right there, that's a little circle, that little question mark right there, and there's also a lot of convection. I'm going to turn everything off so you can see what we're looking at. Lots and lots of thunderstorms and convection right here in the Western Caribbean, and what's going to happen that computers are suggesting is going to happen is that little tropical wave right there spinning counterclockwise is going to continue moving westward until it meets up with all this building convection, building thunderstorms and showers out there in the Western Caribbean. And over time, with that spin adding to the little thunderstorm development over there, we might see a little system start to develop over there as we go into later this weekend and early next week. But the good news for us is that if anything does try to form over there in the Western Caribbean, it's not going to come our way because we got, for one, a cold front coming away that's going to shut anything out of the way. And we also got a high pressure system that's going to be dominating behind the front. That's going to encourage anything that does develop to move out west. But looking at the rest of the tropics, we do have another area of interest out there way in the deep Atlantic. This one has a 40% chance of development as suggested by the National Hurricane Center, but this one has a little bit better of a chance to maybe come our way as we go into late next week and to the early week after that. But we're going to take a look at that more coming up later on Sunrise.
Sleeping in a bit longer on the weekends just might be good for your heart, especially if you tend to be sleep deprived during the week.
Research presented at the European Society of Cardiology shows that getting extra sleep on your days off could lower your risk of heart disease by up to 20%. The study found the effect was even stronger for those who typically logged fewer than 7 hours of sleep on weeknights. Experts recommend making quality sleep a priority, as chronic lack of sleep can harm your heart by raising stress hormones and blood pressure. And while a longer weekend snooze can help you catch up on the rest, try to focus on getting quality sleep all week long. Aim for consistent bedtime habits that allow for 7 to 9 hours of sleep nightly. Your heart will thank you. With this Medical Minute, I'm Zoreen Shah.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We want to know, do you try to sleep more on the weekends? Okay, let's take a look. 66% of you say yes, and 34% of you say no. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. Hezbollah is claiming responsibility for a drone strike on an Israeli army base Sunday that killed 4 Israeli soldiers and wounded some 60 people. It's the deadliest Hezbollah attack since Israel launched its ground invasion into Lebanon nearly 2 weeks ago. Hezbollah says the strike was in retaliation for 2 Israeli attacks on Beirut Thursday that killed 22 people. Taiwan has condemned the latest round of Chinese military drills around the island as an unreasonable provocation, after Beijing deployed warships and fighter jets as a stern warning to separatist acts of Taiwan independence forces. Chinese military's Eastern Theater Command said Monday that the drills are being conducted in the Taiwan Strait. The drills have become increasingly frequent in recent years and have tended to coincide with events that have angered Beijing. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. An aircraft maker announces the need for cuts to its workforce. Cuts are coming to Boeing in the midst of a strike where over 30,000 machinists are on the picket lines. The plane maker now says it needs to trim its worldwide workforce by 10%, or about 17,000 people. Boeing has been forced to delay deliveries of new jets and lost a record $5 billion in the third quarter. NASA says it could launch the largest spacecraft it's ever built for a planetary mission. The Europa Clipper is named after its destination, an icy moon of Jupiter. Scientists think Europa is one of the best bets in the solar system for sustaining life. Under its surface, they believe it has an ocean with tides from Jupiter's gravity that produce heat. NASA says the Europa Clipper carries 9 instruments for testing those conditions, and the journey between Earth and Europa spans about 1.8 billion miles. Lilly Ledbetter, who helped inspire the Fair Pay Act of 2009, has died at the age of 86. Her family says she died of respiratory failure. Ledbetter sued Goodyear in 1999 for gender discrimination after she found out she was making thousands of dollars less than her male counterparts each month. While she won the initial suit, Goodyear appealed and had the ruling overturned. President Obama's first bill he signed in office was the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Incumbent Ted Cruz and challenger Colin Allred will debate on Tuesday, October 15th with a Senate seat at stake. Cruz is seeking a third 6-year term, while Allred aims to transition from the House of Representatives to the Senate, representing the Dallas area. The debate will be aired on several sister channels. Election day is Tuesday, November 5th. A Galveston man drops wrongful death claims against a woman who allegedly helped his ex-wife get an abortion. Read this story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. We want to invite you to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can always find it on your connected TV, the Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And we have time for a final check of our sunrise. It's a little foreshadowing to our cold front coming, right, Parker?
That's right, Carolyn. In fact, you're looking live here in Port Lavaca. You're going to notice that sunrise is starting to look just ever so slowly more and more darker as time progresses. That's because daylight savings is approaching a little bit closer. But out there in Port Lavaca, if you're going to go look at that sunrise, it's a great time to do that. I would highly recommend getting out there before heat up today. 66 right now along the coast, dew point matching that, bringing 100% humidity. So definitely plenty of humidity out there. That is enough to see fog now that we see at 100%. So make sure to be careful on the roads. If you do see it should be a really thin fog out there. That's the good news out there today. But looking at your satellite, that's all pretty clear all across our beautiful state. In fact, with the clear skies that are out there over the next 2 nights, only tonight and tomorrow night are going to be the last 2 nights for good viewing weather to see this comet that is actually over our western skies. This is Comet A3. I'm not even going to try pronouncing that. Comet A3 was actually last discovered last year. I took this picture just about 7 miles north of Victoria city limits, looking west at about 7:50 p.m. You can see here's Comet A3 and here's Venus. So you're going to want to look to the right of Venus. But here's the one I took last night just in my backyard so you can see it for yourself. If you want to go look at that comet, like I said, 7:40 to 8 p.m. is going to be the sweet spot. You're going to see that looking west, and only going to be 1 or 2 more nights before we're right back to the sunny and actually fantastic, lovely weather after that cold front.
Thank you, Parker, and thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful start to your week, and remember to follow us on our YouTube channel and join Shauna, Dawn, Mac, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10.